Welcome to this webinar, and you're in for a bit of a treat today. So I'm going to be talking about starting a charity, some of the pitfalls, and my name's Ashton Wood, and I run a charity called DV Safe Phone, and I'm going to take on a bit of a journey away. So, plan to put this whole thing together, as in the charity, but that'll be a lie. There was became I, and then COVID happened. So all my travel stopped. The work didn't, but the travel did. So house and fill the car with goods to donate to charity. Literally didn't have lockdown, unlike some of the other states. So got not we went into lockdown here in Queensland. So suddenly I've got a car. Well, it wasn't junk. Someone's got to want this stuff. So I rang the only person I could think of, an ex-police senior sergeant named, and I knew she dealt with domestic violence, but I didn't know in what way. So I rang someone who needs it. I don't know. Ash, I was a bit surprised, and I said, "But I've got a carload of stuff." She said, "Yeah, that's great. That's go, why on earth would you need them?" And she explained, and it stops the victim from calling for help. She explained, you can't call, then how do they enact the plans? I was now that you can have. And she said, Ash, I said, wow, look, I'm in corporate, and I know lots of my friends have got phones in their drawers too, and I know how many do you need? She says, what do you mean? I said, well, give me a number. Like, how many phones do you need? Thinking, Ash, like, well, that's a really big number. That's way too big for me to comprehend. But no, what countries are you going to send these phones to? She said, what countries? I said, yeah, when I talked to needed, what countries do you want to send these out to? And she said to me, Ashton, what rock have you been living under? This is just here in Australia. So that so safe phone and the slow. I called on some friends. I said, are you open through COVID? He said, absolutely. We're a critical service. We'll be open. He said, what are you doing? And I told him, I want to get phones for victims. He said, totally. The COVID, people are not going out now. So we'll even check the phones. If we've got time, we'll check the phones for you, and we can use some of our parts we have to do some simple repairs and things. So some business media ladies got involved and ran a column in her magazine for us. And then the larger station So before long, even at 35 of those phones, bit of a gap. So they're not coming with charger cables. They need charger cables. So, so, and so it was actually starting, or even an idea of how to do it, but it was just starting to escalate and starting to really get out there, and we're getting lots of help from the community. So, see what I'm going to do about these costs. I was just doing it. They said, well, not really. If you're going to get serious, you probably want to be a charity. And then we can have a proper talk and see what can be done around grants and funding and things like that. There are lots of grants out there, both government and non-government. There's funding. If you want people to donate money, they're probably going to want a tax receipt for that and claim a tax deduction. So, maybe you need to look at how you're going to structure this thing. So I started talking to some other friends, and a couple of people actually said to me, there's this lady you've got to go see named Sarah Wetton. So, okay, who's this Sarah person? Dr. Sarah Wetton. So I sat down with Sarah and told her what I was doing. And she said, okay, that sounds like a really nice thing to do, getting phones for victims. So what do you want to do with this? I said, well, I think I'm going to start a charity, form a charity and do it through that. She's looked at me and said, God, like, are you insane? I'm like, what do you mean am I insane? She goes, why would anyone want to start a charity right now? I said, well, what do you mean? She said, do you have any idea what's involved? I'm like, no, but if that's the structure we need, that's what we need. She said, there's around 60,000 charities in Australia. So surely there's someone else doing this. I went, okay, well, I'll look into that. She said, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Like, starting a grassroots charity right now, it's just fundraising at the moment. Like, you met the Constitution and you need lawyers to write that for you. That category, which bypasses the ATO and goes straight to ministers. She goes, have you got a board of directors? I'm like, no. She goes, well, you're going to need a board of directors. Have you got a chairman? I said, no, I haven't got that either. And the look on her face was like, you are absolutely insane. And then she said, what are you going to do with that? Like, how are you going to make money out of this? I said, well, it's actually not going to make money. We give it all away and we're not charging. You're going to need a website and a giving program, and it can't look like. She said, just again, explain to me what revenue streams have you got that's going to support this whole charity? I said, well, there won't be a revenue stream because we're giving everything away. We'll be buying. We'll need a place to do it, staff to do it. She said, but there's no revenue. You're not selling anything. I said, no, we're not going to sell them. We're going to give them away. And she said, well, but this is reputation management. So I know what it's like. My friends and people I know and bring in a board of directors, then all their reputations at stake, right? So the solution, the ambition. So why are you doing this? And mine was pretty clear. I want to get phones for free for victims of domestic violence. So she said, look, she gave me some recommendations to Australia. She said, they're a professional body of fundraisers to be part of. You don't have their code of conduct. So if you join them, then you are now held to their code. So yeah, make sure you're pretty serious if you're going to do that. So we agreed to catch up again in a coffee shop, and she said, "So how are you going? How's it? How's it?" Joined FIA. I now have a board of directors and a chairman, and we're going for it. She's like, "You are insane." But yeah, one of the things that they're all think you can get things done, then just do it. Just worry about the there's then why not? And I thought even if I only get another, 30, I'll do this. So I said to Sarah, we're going to get lawyers involved and do this. I said, but there's a question for you. She said, what? I said, well, your expertise for years it may need a bit of a refresh or a change in the way they do things. This is a charity that has nothing right now. So there's nothing broken because nothing exists. How about you come and work for us and help think about it, a long think about it. She now made sure that we're set up really well. We run to code. Pretty done 2 years of financial reporting already, so it's really come a long way in a very short period of time. So we needed a community that can help us get these phones out of people's drawers. So I need people to have conversations with other people about, have you got an old phone? Where is it? Can you get it out? Can you get it across? The next thing we needed was a way to be able to get them to come in, get the phones in, and do the tests and repairs we required and get them ready. Um, so it gives a phone another life as well, right? Then we needed to know where to get the phones to. And I'll be the first to say that I'm not trained in domestic violence. Um, and I understand that the agencies out there, the police, so law enforcement and domestic violence agencies, safe houses, hospitals, they have got the best trained people out there to deal with domestic violence and all the other services that can be offered to help a victim. So it's for free to any police or registered DV agency, including safe houses and hospitals. And they can provide the phones as part of their safety and escape plan with all the other services they can offer. And that could be around clothing and accommodation and meals and all sorts of things. Um, Out there to the community that they support. And when they run low, they just got to let us know. And as long as we've got stock, we'll send more. Um, so, so King helping us with repairs. They're not, and I'll speak later in a minute about how many phones we've had come through, but it's one heard me speak at an event and came straight up to us and said, "Hey, look, we're going to get you on air. We love this." And they've ran campaigns for us last year and at zero cost to us. So they've been so supportive all the way through. And then spoke they agreed to. So we have collection boxes in every single Jeep dealership across Australia. So people can drop their old phones into the local Jeep car dealership and the phones will find their way up to us. So two phones so here, and we've tested them and categorized out. There's a big delta between what's coming and what's gone out, right? And that's because if I had unlimited, all these phones are coming with cracked screens and dead batteries. But at the moment, while we test come in really good condition that are much quicker just to charge and do the test calls and make sure they work. We then send those. We sent 3,290 phones out. There's 150 agencies that have received boxes of phones from us. So it's history out there that tell me that getting they're looking at clothing and bedding and food and those sorts of things, and a phone at a cost of $100 or $200 a phone, they can't afford to buy phones for every single person that needs one. Basically helping us spread the word, get this out there and talk to people, anyone you know who could be in a position to have a phone or work in a corporation that has a bunch of fleet phones that they're upgrading. And also funds, because as I said before, some of the challenges have been around how do we make this work when there's no revenue stream at all here. So it is all cost. Some of the government funding is good, and we've used some of that to buy some screens and batteries and things, but we're yet to find government funding that will pay for people or rent. And they're the two things I need, is a place to do this and people to do it. So that is corporations who'd like to make donations or individuals who'd like to make donations. That's what keeps us going. So there's a couple, which was amazing. So there's something called the HALT map. This is where you may have heard about Hannah Clark and her children who were set fire to in the car through domestic violence a couple of years ago now. Well, her parents have set up this foundation called we've called it the HALT map, which is through Small Steps for Hannah Foundation. And this map and that lists all the agencies that have received our phones. So it helps victims locate where our phones are placed throughout the network. It doesn't show safe houses and hospitals, of course, because there's reasons why we don't want them on that. But also just involved from a lot of police stations on board already, and we're welcoming any other police stations. So if you know of police who want phones to help them serve and help their community of domestic violence survivors, we welcome that. We're always sending phones out to Australia Post. As you can see the picture there, we literally wheel trolleys into Australia. Mentioned before Small Steps for Hannah. So yeah, they've provided us with a $25,000 grant, which helped us build this map, which now exists on our website, called the HALT Map Project, which has been amazing. The other, so on top of the HALT map, which shows the 100 odd agencies that have our phones, we have another map that shows all the drop-off points. So there's over 350 at the moment, locations around Australia, mostly on the eastern seaboard, just because that's where we are in my community, or our business community is, who've offered to put, so people can put out into their location, which they'll then send up to us. Again, as part of the community, you see here some of the images that we've got. Ray White's been involved. I'm not going to name them all, but there's some Woolworths stores, Battery Wise, King IT, Watso. We've had support from lots of big organisations as well. So some of the very large organisations out there provide us with phones. In fact, the biggest to date is Commonwealth Bank, who reached out and offered to provide us with their fleets of phones that they used to sell. And they're using it as well as a bit of a staff volunteer program as well internally, where their staff get volunteer days. And they're using those days to go into their own office and test and clear phones for us from Commonwealth Bank, which they then package and send to us. And they've sent us around 1,400 phones so far, which are mostly iPhone 7s. So that's been absolutely amazing. We've also partnered with a company called Phone Cycle. So I've realised that there are some organisations out there who have a policy that won't let them give phones away. They're allowed to sell them and they're allowed to destroy them. And the reason for that is they're concerned about company data. Now, we do test every single phone, but I get some global policies just won't allow them to give phones away. So Phone Cycle in Australia are equipped to buy phones from corporations, and then those corporations can allocate the funds that were going to be given to a charity of choice. And we're now one of the charities registered with Phone Cycle. So they sold their phones off to Phone Cycle, and Phone Cycle allocated the money to us as the charity. So that worked really well. Um, to keep this running. So one of the biggest parts for us is knowing where our next dollar is coming from to keep us going. So we have something called the Courage 100 Club, and this is regular giving. So this is people who choose to give every month. And what that income every month that I can allocate to know that I can cover the costs of running this charity. Otherwise, if you're involved in that, if you're interested in being a regular giver, that would really help us. Speaking of nations involved, we were gifted free. It was going to be 6 months, they extended to 8. But we had to move on because they'd decided to do something else with the building, which meant they needed to lease out this component. So then free space as well. So we've been in Vitality Village now for a period of time, which has been amazing. We've the Sunshine Coast Hotels group have done 2 events for us so far, and it's raised in total over the 2 years $44,000, which has been absolutely amazing. We had Hot 91 on for us at a race day, which raised us around 15,000. We had another owner of another charity, Mark Forbes from Enders. He runs his own charity for eating disorders. He saw what we were doing. He donated $10,000 of his own money to us. So there's some real generosity here, and some philanthropists like Neil, who came into the office and saw what we were doing and said to me, "What do you need right now?" I said, "Well, I need technicians. That's what I need right now, and I just cannot find funding to get this." He said, "What will they cost?" I said, "They're around $50,000 for a good one." He said, "So 50,000 would help?" I said, "Yeah, it would." He said, "Okay, we'll be in your account tonight." Wait, what? So people like him who really did come and just help us get on our feet and know that we've got our costs covered for the people we're needing along the journey. So that's amazing, it really is. Also, Pool Group have been heavily involved, so they're our accountants, but also have donated funds in to help us. Other things are like LD. So we went to a lot of agencies have asked for SIM cards, like I said at the start. So we went to LD and we got some small funds, some grants, which we all added together, and went to LD with some money and said, "I need to buy some SIM cards off you, please," because LD a year with credit and doesn't expire for a year. Most of the others will expire in 30 days. So I went to Aldi and said I'd like to buy a whole lot of SIM cards. You can see the picture there with a whole lot of boxes of SIM cards. And reduce rate, which has really helped us keep the service running. The next thing we need to do is to surround us with a good team. We've got a great group of part. We've got a really we've got volunteer days where we get people who come in and help us process phones, test phones, pack phones, clean them, all help us post boxes out to the different places. So lots of different things that volunteers can help us with here. And then we have our board. So we've got a board of directors as well that obviously we must have as part of a charity. But they're instrumental. No one gets paid for this, so it's in the board. So it's just something they're all doing from the kindness of their heart to make sure that we're successful. And their industry knowledge is amazing. Like I said at the start, pretty much every phone that goes out is going to a victim of domestic violence. So every statistic is a life worth saving, and yeah, it's we've got a campaign running at the moment called One Phone, One Life for the month of October, which we would like to get 1,000 phones that need repairs out the door as well, and we'd love your help with that for this month of October. We have Okay, so if you see that online, please do promote it, share it around. There's a URL there, which is dvsafephone.org/one life, and that's the campaign we're running. So we'd love you to share that out through your networks and jump on board because, yeah, every phone that comes in helps, and every dollar that comes in helps us as well. So there's some more information about the campaign for October. So it is Sexual Violence Awareness Month. So in some and there's now, I don't think I can change the world, but I know that I can certainly put my head together with other people, get phones, and give them to victims. And we've done that over 3,000 times already. And I firmly believe we're just getting started. With a population of 25 odd million people in Australia, Australia is one of the leading places in the world for technology use. We love our technology. We love our new technology. We kind of discard the old one quite quick in Australia. So I know that there would be easily 2 million phones right now in Australia that work perfectly, but people just don't really want them anymore. So I call on you to reach out to your networks, please. Get those phones out of the drawers, get them across to us. We'll do the tests required, get them out to those that need them. And if you know of any organisations or individuals who would like to donate funds to help us with the cause, we'd absolutely love to chat to them as well. So thank you for watching. My name is Ashton Wood, and I'm the founder and CEO of DB Safe Phone. My contact details are right there on the page, so please do reach out if there's anything that you can do or connect us with, or share this out through your social networks. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.